G'day Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's the keys to victory, the Dogfathers keys to victory, and we're going to look at how the Bulldogs will win this match. If they're going to win this match, I said last week you could throw the form book out when it comes to the Bulldogs and Para. Obviously, we're brought a lot closer, not having that, Viliami Kikau and Matt Burton, but the side showed that they could win ugly. They showed some good attack in that first half at certain times, but the lack of variation throughout the match and a team that was desperate to win. The Dogs had a lot thrown at them as far as pressure goes and field position against them, and just kept turning up in defence and won the game by 8 points. No game has been easy though. We've looked a lot more dominant in the first two matches, especially for periods of time. But we have always had our sort of, the heart's been fluttering a little bit in those second halves. So that has become a worry for the Bulldogs, is holding on, but they've managed to do it 3 times in a row. No one's overrun them yet, and they're coming up against their biggest test of the year. We'll go through the team lists and any predicted changes or anything like that Serrato could throw up. The Dogs are going against probably the biggest, toughest pack so far, and they've faced some pretty good ones so far as well. I would suggest the packs of the first three teams we played are all quite heavy and have all done, full of good players and that sort of stuff. So, again, our boys have matched them, and I expect nothing than the same this week, even without Kickow and without Burton. This game, we are rank outsiders. The Sharks are $1.26 to start this match. We are nearly 4-1. I think there may be some money that comes in for the Dogs, but we will see. Having an unchanged back line for both sides has been good for stability for both teams. And obviously this Sharks side has been playing with a very structured and cohesive, similar spine for a long time, which will take them a long way in any match that they play. Adam Fanua-Blake only enhances what they do, and they have a really tough interchange bench and full of skill as well, with Daniel Atkinson, who'll be off to the Dragons. Talakai, who there was a injury concern on him. Thomas Hazelton and Tuku Hautapua, who gave us nightmares last year, the big boy. Serrato has named an unchanged lineup, but will there be any changes? I think there could be, or it would not surprise me that we could see a debut again for the Bulldogs. Whilst you want to keep that structure as good as possible, we do have a pretty light interchange bench, which we've had every single round. But when you've got a player on that bench like Jack Todd, who has had an amazing start to the season in New South Wales Cup, has a fair bit of size on him, 106 kilos, and can play some pretty good minutes, although that's yet to be proven at NRL level. He's one that it would not surprise me to see him come in for either Curtis Moran or Daniel Saluka for feeder. If they're feeling that they're going to struggle out of their own end, the big boys aren't. Although it sort of sounds counterintuitive to say this, that if they're struggling to get out of their end against a really good defence, sometimes having that extra big body doesn't really help. You need that coming. So you need to have people that can defend and play for longer minutes. But we will see. It may. I think Daniel Saluka for feeder could stay, and I felt that Curtis Moran did a really good job last week. He only played 12 minutes though, so I wasn't too sure why that happened. Maybe there's a slight injury there. Maybe the coach trusted others to get the job done, which they did, which validates that concern, if that was the concern. I felt Curtis did a really good job in that 12 minutes, and he sort of played on the edges, playing longer minutes in New South Wales Cup. But yeah, it would not surprise me to see a Jack Todd come in here. He's very skillful. He can pass. He can do all the out the back stuff. He can find his front and get a play the ball. He's got really good footwork. You know, he could be a player to come in. It would not surprise me. Naturally, I would think they'd want to keep as much cohesion and stability as possible. But if there is a slight concern with Curtis Moran or with anyone in that side, I could see him making his debut this week. So we will see how that pans out. But looking at the side, Connor Tracy's had a wonderful start to the season, as has his opposition number in William Kennedy, a very experienced player. And Connor going up against his old club. He'll be looking forward to this challenge immensely. And he's come to us on fairly good coin as well, so more than he was getting there. Blake Wilson's knows the pending arrival of Carraz could be after the break, so he'll be looking to cement his spot the best he can. Bronson Cherry, who's had a remarkable start to the season, I feel. He's been the workhorse out of the centres. He's been trying to make things happen. He's been trying to be creative at times. And I feel that him and Marcelo Montoya have done a real good job both defensively and in attack. Stephen Crichton, not sure if he's had a few injuries. Not sure. But, we saw him cramp up and it cost us points. He had a few muscle issues. He's been wearing these things on his legs and his calves. He's doing the kicking now as well, which is more demand. But as I said, he does a lot of the stuff which, kick chase, first after the kick chase isn't a stat. If it was a stat, he would be one of the players that leads that stat. He's such an important cog in this side, and I think we're going to see him do something a little bit different this week. I think we'll see more involvement from an attack point of view from Critter, and defensively, he's been doing the work. Looking at these side stats for 2025, looking at the stats, they've played head-to-head, 20 wins each. Wins, they're 2 from 3, we're 3 from 3, and it's identical points scored and points conceded. Sharks 1 more point than us. Completion rate the same or very similar. Tackle efficiency, they have the better tackle efficiency in their team. Average points scored, 28 for, 17 against. We're winning the play the ball, funnily enough, over the first 3 rounds. That could be a reflection also of the teams that these... I would suggest that the Sharks have probably had the more difficult start to the season, playing the Panthers with a fit Nathan Cleary and Dylan Edwards in that side. Obviously, they seemed to smoke Souths early, who fought back well in the second half. And then they went to the Cowboys, who... although the Cowboys have been, people have been dismissing their performances as rubbish, I felt that they played really well against the Broncos for long periods, and their first win is coming shortly. So look, it's in the NRL era, the Sharks have won the exact same amount of games as the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have played 2 more matches than the Sharks over that period since the NRL began. It's just amazing how close that can be, lining up to a round 4 match, which is pretty important for both sides. Where is the keys to victory? Where will this game be won? I hear somebody ask. Well, we can sit there and talk the cookie cutter shit and say it'll be won in the forwards, or, it'll come down to the halves, how they control things and blah, blah, bloody blah. This game will be won by the team that can hold possession and nail their opportunities, which is pretty cookie cutter in its bloody self, I must say. And I'm disappointed with myself for saying it like that. But that is effectively how it's going to be simplified in order to happen. I believe the Bulldogs are going to throw a lot more at the Sharks. I think the Sharks will, definitely test us on both sides of the field. They're going to test us coming out of their own end. There's going to be no fear from the Sharks. They're going to throw balls that they need to throw. I think early it will be a little bit of back and forth, but the Sharks learnt that they don't want to get into just that arm wrestle as the Eels did against the Bulldogs. While they would back themselves to crack our team, and I would probably back them to at least score a try if they had the same um, field position and dominance that Parramatta had over Canterbury. If the Sharks have that, I do expect that we would crack at least once and potentially twice in that sort of scenario. So I think the Dogs will do well to concede less than 3 tries in this match, but that's not to say they can't score more points than that. The Sharks are a side that can, through confidence and overconfidence, overplay their hand. And we're a side which can do that as well. But what I've noticed from the Dogs this year is that, once if they've made those a couple of errors, they've then gone back to the grind again. They seem very determined to be defence orientated, tackle first, play football second. In saying that, they're going to have to play some footy this week. We're going to have to see similar lines being run that we see from the likes of Viliami Kikau and Matt Burton. We have to have Bailey Hayward run the football. We have to have Josh Curran not just coming on the inside and hand it off the ball. They need to run shape and they need to dig in deep and they need to, whether they get tackled or not and whether they stuff it up or not is irrelevant. For me, they need to play that style. They need to play that system and go to that, even if it's they don't have the same quality of player out there to achieve what they normally would, having Burton and Kickout. So even if the Cronulla players disrespect Bailey Hayward and hang off him and almost dare him to run the football, he still should do it. And I think you can get some confidence from that. And I think you can also, maybe pull their pants down a little bit. I see it in games with people, with players like Kyle Flanagan, players like Jamin Salmon, for example. We saw the first try against the Titans. He throws that dummy and scores. He did it. He's done it numerous times in his career in a similar position on the field, to the left of the posts or the right of the posts. Gets that ball, can pass out the back, dummies, and takes the run and scores the try. He did it twice against the Dragons, I'm pretty sure, last year. He did it for Parramatta at different times. He did it for the Panthers at different times. A player like Kyle Flanagan scores a couple of tries, sometimes just through disrespect. And if Bailey is disrespected and they do catch him, he can get away a quick play of the ball and set us up for the next play and to score a try. They need to have Bailey running the football as if he is Burton a little bit. Obviously not the same threat, but if they're just going to hand the ball over and move to a position on the field and ride their luck on a right edge play or a kick or a bomb, it's they're coming up against a side which is very good at defending kicks for the most part. Very good leapers in the air, good ball runners, good out of yardage. Both centres come in and do a lot of the hard work as well to help out. They're a very good bloody rugby league side, and they're going to put us under a lot of pressure. We have to be able to catch our balls. Blake Wilson and Marcelo Montoya are going to be under a lot of pressure. I believe that there will be a lot of contested balls for them. They're going to need to catch the majority of those if we're going to win this match. We're going to have to put a lot of pressure on Nicho Hynes and Braden Trindle from kicks. If they're allowed to just get quick play the balls and march upfield and put pinpoint placement on those kicks and pin us down in our own end, it's going to be a situation where we won't score many points and they'll eventually crack us because they have too many options and too much experience in that way. So for us, we have to be able to navigate their kicking game and their attacking kicks. We have to be able to play some football and have some variation so that Bailey Hayward and Toby Sexton are both kicking the footy from both sides of the field. Even if it's not going to get us the best kick, it's going to set us up for other parts in the game where that variation may lead to us getting, extra distance and setting us up to break down the Sharks and put them under some pressure. That's why on the left-hand edge and the right-hand edge, there has to be a lot of plays going down both sides and a lot of ball running. Toby's had no problem running the ball. He didn't run it as much on the weekend because he was doing all that kicking, and it was a lot different. But look, obviously our forwards have to stand up, and that's why it wouldn't surprise me to see someone like Jack Todd come in, because he's got that footwork, that point of difference, which can really help. He can break a tackle. He can get on the outside a little bit and get that quick play the ball through, rather than just being someone that runs it hard and straight and gets easily picked off and managed in the ruck. And that's where I think he could be someone that they bring into the side. And I think that would definitely help us. Satili Tupanua, personally, I would have had him playing on the edge, because I just think he runs better lines and we're more of an attacking threat. But because he's done so much work to play in the middle at the start of the year, obviously coming in a bit later after having to stay out, playing in the tests at the end of the year, they have to take a longer holiday and stuff. So, it's a different type of fitness. He can fit in there, no problem. Josh Curran, though, I trust him to do the job, and I just want to see him get in behind that advantage line and really punch through at some speed. He uses his footwork and tries to get himself in certain points of the field and does his job to the T. Defends like his life depends on it. Really good player. Happy for him to be out there, but I just feel Satili offers that little bit more penetration, and I said that way too many times the other night, by the way. If Satili and him do swap, I think it would be a good thing, but it probably won't happen. Jacob Preston's the same on the edge. I expect he's going to be up for a big game, and look, Britton Nakor and Teague Wilton are going to ask a lot of questions of our side, and it's going to come down to making some choices, which are essentially a random choice, and getting it right to frustrate the Sharks. They've got some real good hole runners there in Ramian and Iro, and Mulatalo causes a lot of problems. Their second phase play is something that has to be stopped by the Bulldogs as well, with Fanua Blake and Kafusi really good offloaders of the footy, and then players like Talakai when they come on are just all power and all speed through the middle of the field. So the keys to victory for the Dogs obviously have to bring that aggression and defence, have to slow down that play the ball, have to be able to manage our, to be taking the majority of those bombs, and showing a bit more variation in getting out of their own end, playing the hand a little bit more, because the Sharks will do that. So if we do get the Sharks under some pressure, they have the ability to and the sort of confidence to be able to chance their arm there a bit and make a break and turn the game on its head. So we have to be very careful of that if we're going to go on and win this match. I think we can. Max King and Saluka Fafita, I think they will start that way, and I believe that they will, represent the Bulldogs club really, really well against the challenge of Adam Fanua Blake and Oregon Kafusi. They'll be looking to shut down Kafusi's offload, his late offload especially, getting up in the face of these edge back rowers and really working them over, holding onto the ball and getting some repeat sets through their defence is going to try and tire out these edge players to negate their impact in attack. It's basically a style which the Bulldogs have been playing. They put so much work and effort into trying to destroy the opposition. It's all based on sucking their energy. And with the Sharks being a big side and a fit side as well, they're very, very fit, coached by one of the fittest and most hungriest players ever to play the game. They're going to be a strong test for 80 minutes. And what I will say about the Dogs, while they've let in some points in the second half and teams have made it interesting, teams that we should have beat and have beaten, we've still held them off, even when against momentum, and we know how close this competition is. You know, we've seen the Sharks look like world beaters, then go up to Magic Round and get flogged. We've seen sides that should win lose badly. It's been one of those seasons to start. It's still the start of the season. First 4 rounds, anything goes. I think they play us at a very good time, but I think it's also a massive opportunity again for our young halves to prove how good they are, and for this forward pack and back five to really give them an opportunity to show how good they are. And that's going to be very, very important. Lots of people expect the Sharks are just going to be too powerful for the Dogs, are just going to overpower us at some point and make it too difficult and be able to negate our attack. But we've still scored the same amount of points that they have this season, 85 and 84 respectively, let in the same amount of points, and we've got one more win. So, we are way overs. I think a lot of people will back the Bulldogs with a 12 or 11 point head start. But in my opinion, I think if the game's close, I think we're a much better chance of winning it. But there is a chance if this dog side makes too many errors, doesn't turn up with the same attitude that it has, it will get blown off the park. I'm going to back the boys to win this match. I think they can win it by 1-12, which is or by 6 or more points. And this forward pack, I can tell you now, they've been written off again. And in saying that, they'll be up for the fight. Reed Marnie, he's going to be very important in this match. He's, hopefully they can generate some speed where he can actually do some kicks to turn around that Cronulla side. Give Toby a break. Kicking for a kilometre takes a lot out of you. So we need that variation in the kicking game. The three of them need to take some kicks. And they need to run. There needs to be more running. For that running game to happen, though, you do need to have the balls to go with it. If we can get our 3.49 second average play the ball happening, play some footy, have some tricks up our sleeve that we haven't let go yet, I think the Dogs can put on some tries against this Shark side and have them playing catch up by ambushing them at Shark Park on a Saturday night. Naturally, it's those games at that time, and it's supposed to be wet as well, which is going to keep the sides closer together. That's the time when you go out and you use soft hands, some good running, some nice little polite offloads, and have all the support play going through the middle. If I was the Bulldogs, if it's going to be that wet weather in that sort of at Shark Park, I'd be rewatching the games where we dismantled the Roosters early last year against all odds. I'd be looking at it in a similar way and finding ways to get those smaller men with their speed to create headaches in the middle. So that's where the keys to victory are for me. The Dogs obviously have to do a lot of things right in defence and negating what the Sharks are throwing at them, but they really need to throw more shape, more variation, and play both sides of the field. Obviously offer a really committed and hard effort from their forwards and back three. But the last point, I really think that if they can get those little guys and get some speed from the play the ball, some dummy half stuff happening, they can put a lot of pressure on this Sharks outfit. So Dogs 1-12, and hopefully they're 4 from 4 to start the season. If not, we just want to see a really complete performance, a commitment to that defence, and have them giving us reasons to cheer throughout the game, and showing the fans, some of our own fans, the opposition, to stop riding off our forward pack. All right, it's been happening for a long time, and I think the Dogs can really put a stop to it this weekend with a really good performance against the Sharks. And as I said, it would not surprise me if a player like Jack Todd came into this side. We'll see what happens. He may not be named in the 24-hour, which could happen because he'll be needed in New South Wales Cup. But if he's there tomorrow, there could be a good chance that he makes his debut. But that's going to depend on Cameron Serraldo and what they think is gonna work. So that's my guess. My guess is that there's a big chance that he could play, because I just think his footwork and his skill level gives us more variation in what we do, and he's going to help our other players for the time that he's on there. And who knows, if he does debut, he may not play that many minutes. But I think if he does debut, he'll be there with a specific role in mind to help us ambush the Sharks at Shark Park. All right, fans, thanks for having a listen. Join, subscribe, whatever you want to do. And take care. Go the Dogs. And hopefully a few of you, we see a few Bulldogs flags waving around at the ground. So take care, guys, and talk soon, and go the Dogs.